Hello, hello. It's Jo Rawbone here in Introvert's Corner and on my YouTube channel with this week's Lessons from a Lurker. And let me just say, here I am. Here I am. Very exciting. On what started out as a really miserable day here in the UK, and it's getting progressively better. So the sun is trying to shine, which is always good news. So it's brilliant that that's happening. And wow, what a week. What a week. Just remembered two other things. So last week, I decided it was time to take some time for me. So last week I drove some considerable way to see. Good morning, Carrie. Oh, getting ready for rain. We've just finished having rain here. And hi, Sarah. Nice to see you. Yes, I'm keeping well. Thank you. Hope you are too. So yeah, last week I took some time for me and I drove some considerable distance to see my very favorite skin geek. So Jenny Lawson, who is in Introvert's Corner, so she doesn't get time to join these sorts of things quite often because she's busy working with clients like me. And these days she's working 9 till 9 to try and catch up and get people back on track. And she's my very favorite skin geek. So she does this amazing facial for me. And I absolutely put my trust in Jenny. So that was wonderful because ironically, through lockdown, one of the things I've missed is driving to and from client engagements, because that's my processing time. And I realized actually that surprisingly, the journey went incredibly well. I wasn't held up anywhere. So it was about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes journey. But how lovely it was actually to be in the car, singing along with some music, doing my own processing. So that was really lovely. And the reason I needed that is because I'd got a few things coming up where I wasn't lurking, where I wasn't hiding. So I'm going to share some of those with you now. So on Friday, I think it was. Yeah, it was Friday. I recorded a live session with a really good friend of mine, Paul Hornsey Pennell, and his business partner, Carl Pate, for their Undercover Entrepreneur group. And it was absolutely amazing, because the more I find I'm talking about this, the more I'm answering questions, the more things are just kind of falling into place, which is just brilliant for me. And I know the more sure I am about the work I'm doing, the more probably confidently I'm coming across, but without kind of being braggy or bigging myself up in any way, but just because I know I can help people. So that's really amazing. So that was Friday. Saturday, I did my normal yoga session with the lovely Celia Butcher at my favourite spa, Green Farm Spa, and had a bit of a chilled weekend. Sunday was a bit of gardening, a bit of domestic ironing-y type stuff, boring stuff, ready for, ready for this week. And then yesterday, a couple of things happened. One was that I recorded another session for Paul Hornsey Pennell, but this time in his Lifestyle University. I forgot the name for a moment. For his Lifestyle University, because that too is people who are business owners and entrepreneurs. And we really need to understand ourselves and play to our strengths when we're in that introvert space, in that business space, entrepreneur space. And also for the people who are not introverts, it's really useful for them to understand how we tick, what makes us work, so that they're not pushing us for decisions, so that they're giving us breathing space, all that sort of stuff, really important. And loved that. And then yesterday evening, I joined a conversation, and this is such an exciting possibility for me. I joined a conversation because I've been invited to be on the coaching panel for a new dating website. I know, who would have thought that would have been something I'd have been involved in, but incredibly exciting. And part of this new dating website that is launching imminently, but has already got stacks of people lined up, is that the coaching panel, the coaching is offered, the group coaching and webinars is often offered as part of their membership. And they wanted me involved because of bringing the introvert flavor to this and helping people understand how to play to their introvert strengths, absolutely, and in the dating scene, so that you're not compromising yourself, so that you're not pretending to be somebody else when you're dating. And I just love the opportunity. And what's even more exciting for me is that in a few months' time, they're also going to be launching a site for what they're referring to as seniors. And it's a very deliberate strategy, seniors, in terms of people decide when they're a senior or not. So some people might be a senior at 47, other people might be 74 before they get to senior. Good morning, Carol, lovely to see you. And I also joined, and I'll tell you more about that, the lovely Carol Wilkinson yesterday. So I'm just really excited about this. And very quickly, I got a follow-up email or follow-up post saying, would I be prepared to write a blog about being authentic, showing up authentically? And I thought, absolutely, I can do that. So I am really excited about this opportunity to be part of the panel for this new dating website, especially when it comes to not only helping the youngsters understand how not to compromise themselves, but helping the older people as well in terms of finding love a second or third time round, whatever it happens to be. But being them sometimes for the first time ever in their lives, as I'm finding out more and more how many introverts really compromise who they are and kind of sacrifice who they are in order to be the person that the other person needs or wants. So I'm really excited about that. A few other things that have happened where I've chosen, I know, isn't it, Jen? Let me just share what Jen's put here. Yeah, the dating website's such a great and important opportunity. I agree, Jen, absolutely. So I am really looking forward to that. I'll be talking about it every now and again. So, you know, if you know anyone that isn't happy with the whole swipe right, swipe left kind of approach and wants something that's much more meaningful, then you'll find out a bit more as I go. I've also been invited, or I've submitted a piece for Ambition magazine. This will be my second piece. They happily published the first one, so I'm hoping that they publish this second one too. And again, it's about being an introvert in business and really, really knowing who you are in order to be your best self in business and what ambition might mean. And of course, it doesn't look the same to introverts necessarily as extroverts, because extroverts are much more likely to say, yeah, me, I want that, me, whereas introverts are much more likely to hope their work speaks for itself when it comes to ambition. But nonetheless, we can all be ambitious. We're not necessarily all ambitious, but we can all be ambitious. Then I've had, when I put myself up for things, I really do. I've been invited to write a piece for Fab After 50, which again, I'm very excited about. And the topic is really interesting, and I might need your input into this. Some of you I know are over 50, a lot of you aren't, but I'd be interested to hear from those who are over 50, because the topic they want me to write about is why we become more introverted as we get older. And firstly, there's a thing that, you know, going on for me where, well, do we? I'm not sure we do. So what I've noticed is that I'm bolder, I'm braver in my 60s than I ever was in my 50s. But that's not necessarily about introversion. I think what I do is I'm prepared to show my boundaries around my introversion more as I'm over 50. So I'm very discerning about what I attend and what I don't attend. I don't bend myself out of shape. And that's one of the pieces that I'm going to do for the dating website is why not to bend yourself out of shape for the sake of somebody else. So I'm liking the sound of that. So I'd be interested in your input for those of you live now, or for those of you watching on replay, #replay. A, do you think we do become more introverted with age? And B, If so, why? I've obviously got my own views that I'm going to share, and I've got a few days to write this, so I'm not kind of desperate for input, but I'd really love it if, as you're watching and listening and pondering, that you'd give that some thought and think about whether that's true for you, because it might be nice for me to put a balanced approach forward as well. I know from a Myers-Briggs perspective, as I'm a trained Myers-Briggs practitioner, that we become less attached to our preferences as we get older, which would imply actually that I'm less attached to my preference for introversion. But I haven't found that to be the case. I've found even more enjoyment being in solitude, being in companionable silence, being on my own to do things like drive backwards and forwards to the marvelous Jenny Lawson at Mimosa Sanctuary to have my amazing facial. So, am I becoming more introverted? I think I'm practicing introversion more as opposed to becoming more introverted, or declaring it more as opposed to becoming more introverted. Also, I'm about to promote a podcast that I was on with the amazing Lisa Evans, and we were having a big business conversation as part of her Speaking Savvy podcast. So I'll post about that so that you can listen into that. And again, there may be some brilliant takeaways from you there. There's another thing lurking that I can't quite talk about yet. I'm really excited about it. But so here are the lessons then from the lurker. Is being back to, and I know I've said this a few times before, I know I'm a tease, Jen, aren't I? Is being discerning about when I lurk and when I don't lurk, about not falling into a habit or a practice of regular lurking, because it's when I put my head above the parapet and when I say, actually, I can contribute to that, that magic really happens. So for any of you who find that you're lurking more than being visible, my encouragement to you, my invitation to you, is to become more visible for things that really matter to you. And it's going to feel a bit weird, a bit scary sometimes to start with. But if it matters to you, then it'll be okay. I promise it'll be okay. And that's for me the joy of what's happening here, is knowing how many people's lives I'm positively impacting, because that's what I'm here to do. So enough from me. Oh, let me just have a look at what Carrie's put here. Okay, really interesting, Carrie. So, you don't look 75. Good on you. And, pondering through many stages. Yeah, I think there is something very, very interesting, isn't there, about the stages of life we go through. And I am determined to be one of those women, into my 70s who wears purple, who says outrageous things. And this is back to me being the thought leader that I talked about last time, and not doing the whole comparisonitis piece. And that podcast goes live this Thursday. Is it this Thursday? Can't remember. I've lost track now. I think it's this Thursday. So, and I'm really, really fascinated and happy as Larry with the podcast episode I've done on comparisonitis. So, lovely to see some of you. Thank you for joining me live. And if you're watching on replay, remember #replay. Think about, do you think we get more introverted the older we get, and specifically after 50, because that's the piece I'm writing. And watch this space for the tease that I'm giving you. Anyway, nice to see you all. Take care now.